Good morning. Finally getting ready to do the flooring on the second bedroom. And so I'll take you to the first thing that I usually do is set up my vacuum cleaner to suck out all the sawdust from my table saw and get the garage ready to use the saw. Because every time that I make a cut, I have to bring the board downstairs, put on my mask, put on my eye goggles, make the cut, and then go back up the stairs. Every single board that I cut, I have to do that. But I'm pretty safety conscious, so that's what I do. Here's the setup in the garage. There I have my safety goggles and mask. See, I have a table saw with the vacuum cleaner hooked up to it. And I need to move it over closer, because what I do is I have the receptacle right there and I don't plug it in until I'm ready to use it. And then when I'm ready to make a cut, I plug in both the vacuum cleaner, or I can keep the vacuum cleaner plugged in. I just turn it off, but I don't keep the saw plugged in. I don't plug it in until I'm ready to use it. And so that's the setup for where I do all the cutting. Okay, first I'm going to start here at this door and put this backer rod in. I know it initially won't stay in, but at least I'll have it out. Okay, and once I get that started on these boards, I've already laid them out. I just picked up 1, 2, and 3, and then I had a board number 20 left over from the last room that is long enough to complete this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to slice these boards to about 4 inches. That's so that I'll have the same amount of width between this wall and the wall that I end up on where the doorway is. And I do that just so the center of the room will be the center, and also so I won't end up with like a 1/2 inch piece that I have to cut, which probably wouldn't fit in too well. Okay, I got the first row cut, and that is the hardest row, because when I like to center them and have the same width of board on either side, I have to rip the boards along the wall. But even if you didn't want to center them, you would still have to cut the tongue off the board, so you'd still have to rip them. But anyway, I have this other flooring that I have extra that I have to finish a closet that I have. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put those up against the wall, and then I'm going to bring these boards out and put them up against it to start with, to get about 4 or 5 rows, and then I'll pull those out and shove everything up against the wall. I just find it much more easier to do that because there's something solid that they're bumping up against until they get enough boards so that it'll really be solid. And then I'll put one of these or two of them on top of them to hold the weight down, and then they won't move. Okay, that is what I meant by that setup. And I've already got another row of boards laid out to put down, and I had another board from the room cut off piece that will fit right in. And notice in all these numbers on the boards, I started to fill up my grid of the board numbers such that I won't have any matching boards for a good ways, so that you won't be able to tell there are any boards that look alike. Okay, I got 6 rows finished, so I think it's enough that I can take these out and then slide the floor on in. We'll see if this floor floats. So far, so good. And I will put my my spacers back in now that I've moved it. And there it is. I got 6 rows today. Once I slide that floor back over, put the spacers back in, and I put the extra flooring that I had on top of it so it won't move. I don't want it to move anymore. And also one suggestion is I always have a vacuum cleaner near, because I always keep everything clean and vacuumed up. Matter of fact, usually after every row I put in a vacuum again because there's dust and everything. And then I inspect every board that I put in, because sometimes when they create these boards, they may leave some little, I don't know, hanging pieces of board that don't belong, that didn't fall off, and so you need to cut them off or something so that it'll fit together and there won't be any hang-ups. And that's it. So this to me is the hardest part, is getting started. It should go easy now. I am so happy to say I finished the flooring in the 2nd bedroom. And that lamp, which I will forever cherish, was given to me by the owner of the best place that I've ever worked, a woman-owned business, which was a fantastic place to work. And the next thing I'll be doing is the baseboards, and at some point I will be probably working some puzzles. I don't know how that's going to go over for me to tape on the video, but I've always enjoyed working puzzles, jigsaw puzzles. My whole family did. And back when I was working, I've always been a workaholic, but At one Christmas, when my dad was alive, I gave him a 5-box set of 5 jigsaw puzzles, and I bought myself one too because I wanted to frame those pictures. I thought they were so nice, and I've had them for years. And so now that I'm not working, I think that I might get to that at some point. Whether they'll be filmed or not, I have no idea. Might be pretty boring. But I also want to frame them, and that's why I was going to do it, is maybe showing the framing of them, learn how to do that.